Oi. Surprise, surprise, no warning video at the beginning. Instead, I just got out of a shower and found this fucking hilarious Reddit thread posted 17 hours ago when I found it, where essentially this dude is baby raging over his wife being excited for the Endwalker release for Final Fantasy XIV. If you don't know what it is, it's an MMO DLC. Doesn't really matter, but it's dude being mad at his gamer wife. He is a bit manipulative with his wording. We'll go ahead and go through it just fairly clean. I'll try not to interrupt it too much. I do have a tendency to pause things, but we'll get through it because there's a lot to discuss. And he confessed a great deal, surprisingly, in the replies that makes it more clear that, like, he's just kind of a whiny little bitch, if we're being 100% honest. All right, let's get into his side of the story here. Let's get my face off screen. He writes, "Am I the asshole for yelling at my obsessed wife? Hello there. I'm currently typing this from my car after my wife has told me she doesn't want me near her right now, hoping this thread will be a wake-up call to her. My wife, female aged 33, is a big nerd, which I normally appreciate, but she's taking things way too far today. She took today off work so she could be up at 4 a.m. to play her online game at launch. I didn't wake up until about an hour ago, 10:30, when she was still playing. I mentioned that I was hungry, hoping we could make breakfast together, which we like to do together. She instead said that I should order us something from DoorDash. I'm in the middle of a dungeon and it may be a while. I really didn't want to get takeout because we had already discussed ordering pizza tonight for dinner, and that's a lot of takeout food in one day. Why not just get it doesn't matter. I calmly explained this, and she got pissed and shrieked at me that she just wanted one weekend to focus on her video game. I said that it was unfair to our family for her to be isolated all weekend. She got even more mad, telling me that I had 2 hands and could feed the goddamn cat. I was in tears at this point. I did raise my voice and said that I was worried she's obsessed with this game and maybe she needs professional help. She threw her car keys at me and said I need to get out of her face, that she works all the time and doesn't ask for much, and I need to leave her be and get out of her face for a few hours. I am truly concerned that she has become someone obsessed with this online game, and I'm hoping that maybe reading this thread will wake her up to it, but I might have been the asshole too. Some additional info I forgot. It isn't just today. For the last few weeks, she's been hyping herself up for this. When the game got delayed, she moved her vacation time, rather than keeping her previous day off and spending it with me. She's been absolutely freaking out about this game, and I don't understand it, and it scares me." Okay, so dissecting things like this is one of my favorite things to do. So let's go ahead and obviously talk about the fact that he is throwing himself into the victim, like caboose super hard. He is trying desperately to convince you that he is like clearly the victim, right? She's moving her vacation time. I don't even understand, like, she's been hyping herself up for a few weeks, like, bro, like, she's not waiting at GameStop at midnight, so she's less extreme than the Call of Duty fans. From the outside, one of the first things I think about typically when I'm looking at somebody who's reacting pretty extremely to video games is that they're clearly just outside of the culture, right? And like maybe they don't understand their partner, although this would be kind of confusing if the person was into an MMO specifically, hyped for Endwalker, which I was excited for, mainly because I like Reapers and they're making a Reaper class, but I don't even have a character high enough level for it, and I probably won't for a little while. I just got into it like away from WoW. So if she's already hyped up on it, like I don't even understand where he's like confused on as her partner. Like, shouldn't you know this? But then he does, because then we get into this fucking part here, where he replies to somebody. Like I told someone else, she did this last time there was a big event in her game a few years ago. It just scares me. She's a normal nerdy person, not with thick glasses 24/7 gamer. It scares me when she flips the switch and gets obsessed like this. Let me take a wild guess when he says a few years ago. He means the most recent, prior to Endwalker Final Fantasy expansion release, right? So he just doesn't comprehend what it is. We go down this exact same thread just a little bit more, and we find him saying, like, defending himself, saying people don't normally lose sleep and ignore their families for 20 hours straight for those types of things, right? So this is where we get into, he's kind of got a point, right? The family. Don Toretto.
You don't turn your back on family.
Now we find out that the family that he keeps throwing out there as almost a weapon in a kind of manipulative way is no more than one cat. They have one cat together. He says, we have a cat who she normally feeds and cares for. I'm not sure how exactly to feed the cat, and I'm worried I will do it wrong, but she says it isn't hard. Yeah, you pour food into a bowl. What the f? Dude, now that we've sorted out that he's a man baby, this is a frequent occurrence, and he's being fucking stupid for not giving her one weekend every couple of years, and he's trying to throw around this word, this term of family like it's a fucking weapon when it's just a cat. Now, you should care for that cat, but all he has to do to make his wife's life easy is press some buttons on his phone to order some food and pour a scoop of food into the cat bowl. That's it. That's all he has to do, and none of this problem exists at all, and he could have his own hobbies, his own life, and not live through his wife, or rather, really adamantly demand or cry his eyes out on Reddit that his wife live her life for him. Because now we have to get into, what does he consider nerdy? Because he does consider her a nerd, though he does mention the glasses thing, which makes him sound like he's outside the loop. But then we get into a post I found quite surprising. Or rather, a comment. Somebody asked him for info. Do you allow each other to do stuff on your own? For example, if you wanted to go on a fishing trip for the same time that she wants to play, would you agree upon that? He replied, I don't really get obsessed with things like this. She does make sure she isn't around and I'm not interrupted for my weekly D&D game, and she brings me snacks and dinners during it. Alright, so when we're talking about the comfortability that his wife offers him through his own words, we get to a reply that I find hilarious. Somebody asked him, or essentially told him that it doesn't need to be this big of a thing, and he shouldn't really be running to Reddit and random strangers to be doing this. He replied then, she got really just blindingly mad at me when I was trying to talk to her. She kept just screaming, get out of the way, and that she was in the middle of something important. If you can't take eyes off the television for 30 seconds to talk to your spouse, I think that's a sign of obsession. Somebody replied, just how long were you trying to talk to her before she snapped at you? He said only about 30 seconds. She just started yelling at me to get out of her way. She couldn't take her eyes off the TV to talk to me. Here introduces a little detail. I don't know if you caught it, but he said she kept telling him, one consistent thing is that she kept telling him to get out of the way. And he said she couldn't take her eyes off the TV. He was likely pestering her, and then she wasn't budging on it for him to get made food because he couldn't order it. So he like stood in front of the TV, stood in front of her monitor, television, whatever, because he's also a fucking idiot. So I don't know if he knows what a monitor is. But this dude, like, this dude is out here actually like standing in front of TVs like a fucking like 80s dad to his wife because she wanted one weekend in the house with him once every 2 years. She didn't even go to a spa, and she didn't even give a bad reply to the initial response or the initial question wherein he's asking like for food, but he wants pizza tonight but doesn't want to have double order out. So he like is gonna get into an argument and stand in front of her game, legitimately try to like sabotage her ability to like enjoy her weekend. Now, my frustration with this guy isn't just common sense to me, surprisingly even to Reddit, who is so ripe to be toxic pieces of shit, especially when it comes to women specifically, Reddit rallied to gear their hatred in a more healthy direction toward the guy. Yet, so much so that the thread got locked for being out of control for what they said, quote, too many man-baby insults and worse. These were my 3 favorite comments and seemingly pretty well wrapped up the entire feeling of the thread. I really didn't see anybody agreeing with him outside of like throwing him a bone because they didn't know everything. Our first comment comes from No Departure 654. Flat out reply to the base post, they say, dude, she isn't obsessed with the game. A lot of people wake up early / stay up late for the launches of games. It's not unusual. It sounds like you're just mad she's not cooking for you and that you have to feed yourself and the cat. When you mention you like to make breakfast together, how much do you do that? I also call bullshit on the calmly explained and she freaked out and went hysterical portion of this. Chances are you whined about it and she got annoyed. And do you have kids? Because if you don't, and it's just the 2 of you and the cat, then how is playing a game for a few hours unfair? If she works all the time and this is her way to unwind, let her. She's not hurting anyone and you are a grown adult capable of taking care and entertaining yourself. I also see that she said the dungeons might take a few hours, not 2 to 3 days. You didn't want this thread to wake her up. You just wanted validation from strangers online about your whining. TLDR, you are the asshole. All right, let's move on to the second one. Second comment on the thread goes to Lesbian Goose. They say, she's obsessed with the game. She's only been playing for that day. Yeah, okay, lol. Look, she took some time off to play a game she's looking forward to for a while. You mentioned that she barely games, and that she claims to, quote, work all the time. Let her have fun. You could always make yourself some breakfast instead of ordering. It's only one day. Based on your analysis that she's, quote, obsessed with the game, I'm not buying that she shrieked at you. You're the asshole. Somebody replied to this, I guarantee it's Final Fantasy XIV, new expansion dropped at 4 a.m. this morning. Is exactly what I thought as well. I'm not 100% confirmed on it, but come on now. She could be obsessed, except for the mention that she barely games and works all the time. This person really just backing up what the person above said. Third comment comes from Suffrage Citizen. You're the asshole. You mentioned in another comment that the last time she did this was over 2 years ago. So every couple of years your wife wants a weekend to herself. That is not unreasonable. What is unreasonable is that even after she made it very clear she wanted to be left alone, you insisted on continually inserting yourself until she snapped at you. After which, you immediately took the victim role and turned it into a major argument. Almost like that's exactly what you wanted. Gee, I wonder why she needs a weekend to herself now and then. Somebody replied to that comment saying, I couldn't have put it better myself. The edit to include that she moved to vacation for this makes OP an even bigger asshole. There is no way OP didn't know she was on vacation and still wanted her to work for him. OP, please show her this thread so she can show you the door. I don't know how much longer this thread's going to be up. It is still currently up as far as my knowledge shows. It does seem like a dummy account, so I doubt that it's going to be taken down anytime soon. I'm pretty sure the dude probably just made like a dummy password. But if not, the thread will be in the description of the video. Feel free to check it out. This shit's hilarious, and I don't know, let me know if he says anything else. Alright, later.